Hey everybody, welcome to our first of 4 segments on Ready Up, disaster preparedness, what you should do, where you should be, how you should respond. And today we have an incredible guest with us. He's really not a guest to the house, but it's Chief Michael Smith. And he's going to talk to us about fire. We're going to ask a couple of questions. But before we get started, I just want to give you a quick reminder to always be prepared. This segment is called Ready Up. And the reason we want to be ready now is so that we're not scrambling to be ready later. So we want to remind you that it's really important that you put together a bag of essentials, your medications, your paperwork, your money, some food. Don't try to take all of the heirlooms from the family. It's just a go bag so you can hurry up and get out quickly. So we'll talk more about that. But right now, I'd just like to turn our attention to fire and speak to Chief Michael Smith and just kind of glean off of his wisdom. How are you today, Chief?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing outstanding. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. We really want to prepare people for fire. Fire is a big deal in California.
Yes, it is.
And if you could just expound a little bit first on yourself, give them some background information on you and where you've been and how you became chief and where you are now, that would be great.
Okay. I moved to the state of California in 1974 when I was 21 years old. And 4 years later, I entered the fire service. I started with the city of Monterey. I was the first black firefighter they hired in 1978. 1981, I moved to the San Jose Fire Department because Monterey was pretty much locked as far as promotional opportunities.
Okay.
Everybody in a position above me about my age, but I knew I wanted to progress in the fire service. So I went to the San Jose Fire Department. I was there for 13 years. Then I was appointed fire chief in Fresno. So from 94 to 2003, I was the fire chief in Fresno. And then 03 to 08, I was a fire chief here in Fairfield and retired in 08.
Okay, that was a rapid ascent to chief.
Yes.
From the very beginning. That's awesome. And so now we're privileged to have him here with us in the house. And so you are a member of Liberty Church, and we glean on you quite a bit because we obviously want to be in compliance with everything that the fire department would have. So let's just talk a little bit about, maybe we start with, when is fire season?
Fire season typically has been from like May until late October, November, but now it's like it's year round because of climate change. We have wildland fires all year now.
Okay. So what are the major causes of these fires? Sometimes I'm driving down the highway and I see fires off to the side of the road. Is that kind of normal of people, flicking cigarettes, or is what's going on that's causing so many fires?
Well, a lot of times it's from people discarding cigarettes and other light materials or chains or sparks.
Okay.
Yeah, all it takes is a spark to get into the dry grass and then it takes off. We have natural occurrences such as lightning, wires down. A lot of times it's just negligence, people just out and about and not being particularly careful about what they're doing.
Yeah, I hated a couple of years ago, we discussed how it was right at our back door, right in Sassoon and Fairfield and Vacaville, and it was quite scary, to be honest, because I had experienced fires in California before, but never so close. So they kind of want to ask a question, and it seems like common sense, but I think that it's a trip up for a lot of people. How, first of all, do you know that your area is being evacuated? How is that communicated to us? And then the second follow-up question to that would be, what are you supposed to do? Now, I know that it's obvious, like get out, but it's really not that obvious. A lot of people don't. So could you talk about trying to outrun? And I see people wetting down their roofs and wetting down their lawns, and there's an order to evacuate. Can you talk a little bit about evacuation?
Sure. I'll start out with notification. Everybody should be on the Nixle, NIXLE.com. It's a notification system where you get notifications from the police department if roads are closed or if any weather activity or anything that's going to affect their movement in a general area. So everybody should be on Nixle, Nixle.com, and you can get alerts to your cell phone, to your home phone.
Okay.
You can get voice alerts if you want them, or just the text. That way you can be notified anytime something significant happens at all times, and it's with your cell phone. If we give an order to evacuate, folks, just go. First you probably get a notice of evacuation, a warning. Okay, get ready because you may have to evacuate. But once that order comes to evacuate, people, please don't waste time. You should practice on how you would evacuate your residence in 15 minutes or less.
Okay.
So that means, know what you're going to take. If you want to pack a go bag, that's fine. You want to have change of clothes, you want to have your medications, you want to have all your important papers, because if your residence is somehow eliminated by whatever source, do you know how to contact your insurance company? Do you have, of course, your medications? You got to have at least a change of clothes and anything that's really valuable to you. You can't take everything.
Right.
You can't.
Right.
And well, you shouldn't try to either. But just take what's vitally important to you, load it up in your vehicle, and leave.
Okay.
Everything else is stuff. Just lock your doors, turn on your alarm, and just go. Because if you don't evacuate, now you become a problem to the first responders.
Okay.
Because we can't focus on extinguishing the fire if we know that you're in your house and you call, hey, I'm here, help. Well, really, the time for you to go was like half an hour ago. But now we have to focus on you to get you out safely. Meanwhile, that incident that we were called to is raging. Yeah. And there's more damage because of that. And you can't outrun a wildland fire. I mean, they move fast. They've been clocked at more than like 60 miles an hour. Just going across.
Wow.
When you have what we call flashy fuels, the grass that we see growing up, those are light, flashy fuels. Then it gets into the trees, and it just ladder fuels, they call it, and it just ladders up to the trees, and then it just blows.
Wow, and that's really interesting. You made a good point, too, and I know that you may not be able to speak to this in depth, but it's important that we have fire insurance.
Yep.
And so that might be something that we want to take a look at our insurance policies and make sure that we're covered on that. So, yeah, I think that people feel like they have more time than they actually do. So it is important that we leave. Where do we go? If there's a fire that is in Vacaville, let's just say Vacaville or Fairfield, here in Fairfield, we obviously want to move away from the area that is going. So how far do we go, or does that not matter? Just get out.
It does matter somewhat. Like when we had evacuation orders here in Fairfield a few years ago, I could have just gone to Sassoon, as a starting point, or I could have gone, further south. My wife and I chose to go to Sacramento because our daughter said, come up here. Oh, okay, we'll make it a little vacation. So we went to Sacramento. But you just need to move out of the immediate area.
Okay.
And the Nixle notifications will tell you if there's an evacuation and where to evacuate to. But you just want to get out of the area because the emergency responders need to come in. And preparation for that. I tell people, try to have gas in your vehicles. I mean, at all times. Once my gas tank gets to about half, I'm filling up. Because should you have to leave and evacuate, the two things that are going to happen, if it's because of an earthquake or something, gas stations may not have power.
That's right.
So you can't get fuel.
That's right.
Then you're going to have people backed up, nose to tail to try to get out. And your vehicle may be running and you may not be moving. Meanwhile, you're burning up gas. So if you run out of gas in an evacuation, now you become part of another problem. So try to keep gas in your vehicle at all times.
Yeah, that's a great point. I remember the fires a couple of years ago, and the gas stations people were lined up. And so, keep your tank, if at all possible, on, as full as possible. Like he said, half tank, get it filled back up, because we just don't know. This isn't something that is fear-driven. This is just something that we want to be able to respond in a way where we don't have to have fear. We don't have to have fear we don't have gas. We don't have to have fear that we don't have enough food, or I'm running out of my prescriptions. If we get ready and stay ready, then we'll be good. So I appreciate that, Chief. Also, can you talk to us a little bit about what we should have resources or what we should have on hand in both our homes and our cars? So say it's not a wildfire, but say there's a fire that happens in your home, or what do we need to have there? What do we need to have in our cars in case of anything? And I want to add too, before you answer that, sir, in your car, also have things like water and a blanket. Have extra things on hand, batteries, whatever you need. You just throw that stuff in the trunk. And actually, you can now buy, both online and at Walmart, I saw, you can buy these kits that have everything that you need, or at least it can start you on what it is that you'll need. So that would be a good example of something to keep in your car. But anyway, Chief, what do we need, like in our homes and in our vehicles?
Okay, in your home, I would suggest everybody have a fire extinguisher.
Okay.
Usually it's a 2A10BC, which is a rating for the types of fire that they can put out. Anything from wood, paper, and that type of material to, they don't work very well on flammable liquids, but it'll work. Have a fire extinguisher. If you have an incident at your home, first dial 911. Before you do anything else, dial 911, get the professionals coming. And then if you want to try to extinguish the fire, then do so.
Okay.
But at least if you are not successful in extinguishing fire department's coming.
Okay.
And they're going to take care of
Okay.
it. Because I can remember, I'm in fire service, and one day I'm cooking, had many things going, and all of a sudden, poof, I had a fire on the stove because my oil had ignited. And for a second, I panicked. Fire! Wait a minute, I know what to do. I know what to do. Turn the heat off, put a lid on the pan, and it goes out.
It's a done deal.
Because fire needs three things in order to live. That's fuel, heat, and oxygen. So if you eliminate any one of the three, the fire goes out. But you need to eliminate the heat source. So if you put a lid on it, turn the heat off. Either move it or turn the heat off, because if you leave it on, if you take that lid off, it's going to reignite because now it has air. Because fire needs 21% oxygen to live. Once the oxygen level gets below 21%, the fire goes out, the flame goes out, but it smolders. It's there, it's living, it's waiting for air. And as soon as it gets it, it ignites in flame again.
So everybody should have at least one fire extinguisher?
Yeah, usually somewhere between the garage and the kitchen.
Okay.
The two places where fire will most likely to occur in a house.
Now, let me ask you this about the fire extinguishers. Do I need to have those inspected annually, or do I need to buy a new one? Like, how does that work?
Fire extinguishers are typically good for about 5 years.
Okay. Then after 5 years, do I repurchase, or do I?
It all depends on the extinguisher. If you get a really good quality, high-end extinguisher, yeah, you can get it reserviced.
Okay.
But usually they're disposable, like a lot of other things.
So if I wanted to get it reserviced, do I just take it to the fire department, or how does that work?
They're fire equipment service companies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
People that fill fire extinguishers.
Okay.
And there's at least one in Sassoon.
Okay. So what about my car?
It sometimes wouldn't hurt to have a fire extinguisher in the car too. But like you said, you want to have some type of clothing, you want to have a blanket, you want to have water, and you want to have some food. And if you're going to be gone for a long time, you want to take your medications, things that you're going to need to survive on a daily basis. Take that stuff with you and have it with you in the car. Hey, winter's coming and snow, and people want to go over the hill to the snow and whatnot, and sometimes you get stuck in traffic, or you can't get through.
Right.
And you're stuck, and you have to have warmth, and after a while, you have to have water. If nothing else, you have to have water.
Right.
You have to have food.
Right. Okay. This is like a wealth of information, and we're going to have some information available to you. If you'll go to the information counter, we're going to have some printouts of some do's and don'ts, and we'll back up and remind you of what Chief has said here today. And of course, this video will live, so you can always come back and view it. But those will be at the information counter. Also, Chief, is there anything else that you feel like we need to know about fire?
Yeah, fire's hot. Fire burns.
Fire does burn.
I mean, and heat rises. If you ever have to extinguish a fire, even with a portable extinguisher, aim towards the base of the fire.
Okay.
Don't go up here. Yeah, the flames may be 20 feet. No. You have to hit where the fuel is.
Okay.
With a sweeping motion, and you put out the fire.
Okay.
One thing I would like to add, though, like in a place like our church here, or anywhere you go, out in public, anywhere you go, in a building, notice where the exits
Know your
are.
exits,
Know
absolutely.
your exits, so that if you have to leave in an emergency, chances are you may not be able to leave by the way you came in. We're creatures of habit. I came in this door, I want to go out that door, but that may be the one door you cannot go out of. So know where your exits are. And if you're directed to leave, to evacuate, follow instructions, please. Even here at church. Well, my kids are over there. Well, we got your kids taken care of.
Right.
They will be in an area where you can meet them. It's for your safety. Follow the directions of the people that are trying to get you to safety and keep you safe. I do that, in every building. One thing I do too is when I fly, where are the exits? And I always, once I get my seat, I count the number of rows, both front and back, to the exit. Because if there's an emergency, you may not be able to see the exits. And in the worst case, if there is a crash and the plane is upside down, your orientation's off.
Right.
But if you know I need to go 5 rows up here and there's an exit, or 7 rows back here, there's an exit.
That's great. That's great wisdom. And I do want to touch on very briefly, in one of our segments, we'll talk about evacuation plans for Liberty Church. But I do want to emphasize what Chief said. We have a plan for your children, so you don't have to run to the children's wing and get your children. They are absolutely taken care of. They actually are experiencing fire drills. They're being told what to do. The leaders know what to do. So what Chief is saying is absolutely correct. Try not to panic. And I know that it's a big deal, but try not to panic and follow the direction of the leaders, and they will lead you out to a safe place. And also saying that really quickly, Chief, if you're in your home and maybe you're asleep and a fire starts in your home, I have seen on TV, so I don't know if this is the truth, but I've seen on TV that you kind of need to, before you walk out of your door, kind of try to touch your door to make sure that the fire is not right behind your door before you open it. Is that correct?
That's absolute truth, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
and you should sleep with the doors closed.
Okay. That's a good point.
Because if the fire does happen in your house, at least you have a barrier with your door being closed.
Okay.
And you want to feel the door, feel the handle, because it's going to get hot first. And if it's cool enough, open the door, and you want to stay low.
Okay.
Because heat rises, smoke rises, and it banks down from the ceiling.
Okay.
So the lower you stay, the cooler the environment is going to be.
Okay, that's
and
awesome.
A lot of times you can see where the fire is. If it's smoke, once you get down on the floor, oh yeah, it's over there. So.
Okay, awesome. And I've also seen red dots on windows, and I've been told that signifies that there might be a child in that room, or is that something that the fire department actually looks out for, or? Okay.
No. Okay. Only because we don't want to focus our attention to where somebody may have put, okay, there's a red dot, meaning there's a child. They may have moved. Child may not be there. We don't want to necessarily focus on that particular room. We just methodically go through and we do what we do.
Okay.
Just how we search for people and search the premises.
Okay. Awesome. I don't really have anything else. I think that I just want to say that we have to be conscious. We don't have to be fearful, but we have to be conscious, and we will eliminate fear by being ready, being prepared. And so as we go on through these segments, we want to make sure that you're equipped to do everything that you need to do, that you have the information that you need. And then we're going to continue to put things in your hands, and we're going to continue to talk about these different things because your safety is priority with us. So I want to thank you all for tuning in. Again, this video will live here, and you can go to the information counter and get some information on fire. Chief Michael, I want to say thank you so much for your time. And if you see him, I don't know, can we come up and ask you questions if
Absolutely.
we see you? Okay,
yeah.
So you can come up and ask questions if you see him. But we appreciate having this kind of expertise in the house. So we'll be doing 3 more segments. And so we look forward to you tuning in then. God bless you.
One more thing
yes,
before
please.
we end? I want to say that it's important to pray about a lot of things, but pray for your public safety personnel. Pray for the police. Pray for firefighters. We do what we do. A lot of times you don't see us, but with the economy being the way it is and budgets being the way they are, at least firefighters are overworked. They're overworked. And sometimes firefighters don't get to go home because we have to have, 3 people on duty at a station for a piece of equipment every day. Have to, because we don't want to close the fire station. We want to keep it open. So if there's nobody to fill an absence, sorry, you're not going home. You're going to have to stay. And firefighters are working multiple days where they're unable to go home. So you want to pray for the economic situations around cities. You want to pray for the staff. Pray for the people that are on duty. Pray for their family members, because when they have to work multiple days, that affects them mentally.
Absolutely.
So a big focus that we have in the fire service now is mental health.
Yes.
So we're focusing on the employee. We're focusing on the employee's family, because it's hard when the firefighters at work that has children that are growing up. There are very important things that happen in a kid's life. And what we don't want to happen is we don't want our employees' children to grow up and say, well, Dad, you were never here. I did this and you weren't there. It doesn't matter that that parent was held hostage and could not leave. But, we just want to make sure that everybody is maintaining their mental health, physical health, and just pray that resources can be met while keeping everybody safe and just want to keep us safe.
Absolutely. And that's a point that we don't want to walk away. Our first responders, they're everything. In the middle of crisis, in the middle of emergencies, they are everything. I actually have a devotional, Chief, that is specifically a daily devotional on prayer for first responders.
Awesome.
And so if you're interested in that, I can give you some information on that as well. But we do need to pray for our first responders. It's imperative. They need prayer, they need support, and we want to be the church. And the church prays. We're praying people. So, Chief, again, thank you so much. Hey, guys, stay ready, ready up.
Then you don't have to get ready if you stay ready.
There you go.